All right, let's grab our detective hats because today we are opening up a brand new case file. And this one is a big one. We're diving deep into the mystery that is Poppy Playtime Chapter 5. The internet is just a maze of rumors and whispers, but we're going to cut through all that noise and piece together what's really going on.
So let's just get right to it. The big question, the one that's on everybody's mind. When are we getting Chapter 5? And maybe more importantly, what do we actually know for sure? Forget all the clickbait and the wild speculation for a minute. We are going to build this case from the ground up using only real evidence. Stuff from official sources and some good old-fashioned logical deduction.
Okay, every good investigation has to start with the hard evidence, right? So let's kick things off with part one, following the official clues. We're talking about everything dropped directly by the developers, Mob Entertainment. This is going to be our bedrock.
And here we have it. Exhibit A, a social media post from Mob Entertainment themselves. The screams from the factory are not over. The biggest toys are yet to play. Hashtag Poppy Playtime CH5. Whoa. Okay, so it's short, right? But man, is it packed with stuff. This isn't just some random teaser, it's a full-on statement of intent. They're telling us flat out that the story is far from over and, honestly, setting a super ominous tone for whatever's coming next. So let's actually decode this thing. First up, the biggest toys. Come on, that's not just a throwaway line, is it? It practically screams that we're getting a new antagonist that's going to make Catnap or Mommy Longlegs look like, well, small toys. Then you've got are yet to play. I mean, that's as clear as it gets. They are actively working on it. The hashtag, of course, just locks in the name for us. And the fact that there's no date, classic suspense building. They know exactly what they're doing.
All right, to figure out where this story's headed, you've got to look back at where it's been. So for part two, we're putting on our lore hats, we're going to connect the dots and hunt down all those juicy narrative threads they left dangling at the end of chapter 3. So let's do a super quick recap, just to get our bearings. Remember, we freed Poppy, we somehow survived Huggy Wuggy, we outsmarted Mommy Longlegs, and then just when we thought we were getting out, everything went completely sideways. Chapter 3 ends with us in the literal wreckage of that train, right after seeing the prototype's insane power firsthand. And that crash, that's ground zero for whatever happens next.
And what a cliffhanger it was. We're down for the count in a crashed train, but Kissy Missy is right there with us. So question one, what happens the second we wake up? Where are we? And the prototype, man, it's not some shadowy figure anymore. It is front and center. And then there's the biggest wild card of all, Poppy. Her motives have been sketchy from day one, right? Is she actually helping us, or are we just a pawn in her game? Chapter 5 has to give us some answers.
Okay, so we've looked at the official clues, we've connected the lore dots, now it's time to open up the community's case file. For part 3, we're diving into what the fans are predicting. Think of it like we're crowdsourcing our investigation with thousands of other detectives who are just as obsessed with us as we are.
So that biggest toy they mentioned, who is it going to be? Well, the community has some pretty strong opinions. Look at this. A whopping 45% of people are betting on some kind of giant marionette or puppet. I gotta say, that fits the creepy toy theme perfectly. But then you've got a solid chunk of fans thinking we'll see a twisted version of Brawn the dinosaur. And don't forget the mysterious doctor from the tapes. That one's getting some serious traction too. Okay, now check out this theory because it's a really cool one. So what if that train crash actually separates us from Kissy Missy? The idea goes that in Chapter 5, we'd get to play as two different characters. You'd have your regular sections as our protagonist, probably exploring some crazy new area, but then you'd switch perspectives and play as Kissy Missy, who's trying to get back to us. How cool would that be? It would totally change up the gameplay formula.
All right, it's time. Let's tackle the final piece of the puzzle, the one everyone really wants to know. In part 4, we're going to try and solve the release date mystery. This is where we break out the calculators and get a little analytical with the historical data. The numbers really don't lie. Just look at the pattern here. Chapter 2 dropped about 7 months after the first one, which is pretty quick. But then look at the gap before Chapter 3, a massive 20 months. That tells you one thing very clearly. These chapters are getting way, way bigger, more complex, and they just take a lot more time to make. Now, if you just average those two gaps out, you get around 14 months. Simple enough, but you can't ignore the trend, right? The time is going up, not staying the same. So that 20-month cycle for Chapter 3, that feels like a much more realistic starting point for our prediction. So, when you put it all together, the fact that the games are getting bigger, that last 20-month wait, and the fact that we know it's in development now, our most logical deduction points to this: a release window somewhere in late 2025, or maybe even bleeding into early 2026. Yeah, I know, it's a bit of a wait, but hey, it probably means they're cooking up something absolutely massive for us.
Okay, so we've looked at the official statements, we've dug through the lore, and we've crunched the numbers. What's the final verdict? Let's put all our key findings on the board.
So here's the bottom line, what you really need to know. First, it's confirmed Chapter 5 is definitely in the works. Second, the story's going to pick up right where it left off in that train crash, with the prototype finally taking center stage. Third, get ready for a brand new, probably terrifyingly huge, big toy. And fourth, the big one. Pencil in late 2025 to early 2026 on your calendars. That's our most likely window.
And that pretty much closes the case file for today. We've managed to piece together a pretty solid roadmap for Chapter 5. But, it just leaves you with one more, even bigger question, doesn't it? Even if we somehow make it through Chapter 5, what's next? What is the ultimate endgame for Playtime Co.? What kind of twisted finale does the prototype have planned for all of this? I guess that's a mystery for another time. Thanks for joining the investigation.